the vise over here, and that is number 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a rag and I'm going to wrap around this bearing surface here that we just cleaned up. And my yellow mark is over here, so that means the twist is this way. I'm going to slide the wrist pin in the hole because I don't want to do any tweaking or bending on this thing without the pin in it, because I could damage the bearing surface inside where this is. Okay, so we've got a wrist pin in. I got a lady's slipper here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tweak this rod just a little bit, not a lot. Then I'll get my rod checker. Yellow dot this side. And we'll repeat the test. You can see, I can see that looks good to me. So, you know, not a whole lot. Okay, so this morning we started with 4 rods that were in pretty bad shape, and we moved through the machining process to get these holes round, get these mating surfaces flat, cleaned out the oil holes, checked for straightness, and so we took, you know, 4 rods that were kind of worthless or, you know, in pretty foul shape, and we got them back to original specifications. So there's one more thing that we need to do, and before we can say these rods are done, and that is when we ground material off of the cap and the rod, that removed material. When we put it in the rod home, that removed material. So that changes the weight of the rod. Even though, you know, it was a small amount of material, we know that the rods are not balanced as it is. So we'll go get the scale, and then we'll kind of show you, you know, how I get these things relatively close. Now, I do want to say a disclaimer here that there is, you know, for engines like this that are, you know, not really performance engines, I'll just put them on a scale and get the weights, you know, relatively close. I mean, it'll be a lot better than the way it was when it came from the factory in the 40s. The correct way to do this is to actually weigh the big end and little end on a special scale, and I usually do that for stage 2 and stage 3 engines that, you know, spin 8,000 and 9,000 RPMs. This thing is, you know, it's just really not necessary for that. So we'll go get our little digital scale, and we'll weigh them up and show you kind of how we remove material on these things. So when the rods are cast, they have a boss here on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, so that is where the material was poured into a sand mold, and this is a cutoff lug where they would have removed the excess material cast in this cap, and but they'll leave them long because that's how you adjust the weight on a rod, is that you'll grind material off of here to lighten the rod up. So we'll have to find out which one is the lightest rod, and then we'll have to take all of them down to that measurement. So stand by, it's going to take me a little bit to get the camera set up. Okay, so I can't, for some reason, I cannot get this digital display to show on the camera, so you're just going to have to kind of take my word for it here. But, okay, so this will be rod number 3, and it's 31 ounces. So we'll set it in order right here. This is rod number 1, problem child. And it is 31 ounces, so we can put those two together. Coincidentally, those two rods have the same part number. These is a different part number, so let's see. So this is 31.2 ounces, so that one's heavy. So we'll set it right here. And this one is 30. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in here with this heavy rod, and I'm gonna remove material off the back side of it to try to get it within the weight requirement with the others. So stand by, let's get a little loud. You can see how much material we removed there to try to get into weight. So that should do it. Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna get an individual shot of each rod now that I got this display figured out. So this will be rod number 1 at 30.9. 30.9, and 30.9. So, okay, so I've got a couple minutes left before my 15-minute time hack is up for the video, YouTube post. So I just want to kind of elaborate a little bit on the oil jet issue that I found in the Chilton's manual. So, and I'll post a picture and an actual copy of the mechanic's notes or engineer notes from the Chilton's manual, so you can actually read it for yourself. But it basically says, beginning with engine number 25009, the timing gear oil jet size has been reduced from 70 thousandths to 40 thousandths. This eliminates the oil pressure variation previously occurred at number 1 connecting rod bearing, which has caused this bearing to score or burn. Install the new oil jet whenever front cover is removed or if number 1 connecting rod is scored or burned. So I went out to the engine block and actually removed the jet. And you can see the jet in the picture that I'm going to provide in this post. And basically it's a jet that sits in between the camshaft gear and the crankshaft gear, and between the two timing gears, and squirts oil on those two gears to ensure that they're properly lubricated. So I went out to the engine to pull it off to verify that, hey, this engine is one of those engines that has that issue. Now we suspected that because of all of the damage on the number one rod. So here's the jet, and put that up there so you can see it. And I've got a drill bit in it, but oil basically comes in that end of it and squirts out where the drill bit is on the crankshaft and the timing gear. So this bit measures 69 thousandths across, and it barely fits in the hole. So I know that this hole is approximately 70 thousandths in diameter. The note says that the engine timing gear oil jet set has been reduced from 70 to 40. So this jet has not been modified. So this needs to be corrected before I put this back in the engine, so that we don't have the same issue with the number one connecting rod again. So probably what I'll do, I'm not having any luck finding one of these jets, so that's really no big deal. I think what I'll do is come in here with the heated arc rig, and I'll just weld that hole up, and then I'll come over here on one of these new flats, and I'll just drill another hole 40 thousandths in diameter, and that should rectify the problem. But yeah, so I just wanted to take a few minutes to clarify that for those of you who are interested. And I'm kind of glad I read that, because for obvious reasons. I mean, we want to give this thing all the opportunity we can. So the only thing I can figure that's happening here is that this hole is too big, and it lets too much oil out, and too much oil is starving the bearings from getting oil. So if we can restrict this hole a little bit and provide enough oil for the crank and cam gear, that's going to bump the oil pressure up to ensure that the number one rod gets the proper amount of oil it needs to. So that's where we are with this, and I just wanted to clarify that so you knew kind of what we were talking about. So and like I said, I'll post the pictures in the video so you can see exactly where this thing is located, so you know exactly what it does. So that'll conclude this video, and if you have any comments, hey, shoot me a comment in the comment box, and we'll do our best to answer them. So thank you very much.